We are here to recap and discuss the Obalon box from 1969, which, if you would like a review and thoughts and vividly hear my thoughts and opinions, go ahead on YouTube and check out my review. I thought the chemistry between Christopher Lee and Vincent Price was on point. The chemistry and romantic scenes came off believable between him and a younger woman he was talking to. I thought that was great. Just a whole vibe. Just an overall nostalgic movie, for a 1969 movie. If you guys haven't seen the Obalon box, I highly recommend you check it out. I give it a 10 out of 10 because it's truly a 10 out of 10 type of a movie. Cinematography, acting, cast of characters, hi babe, all of that shit. The look of the characters, just everything about the movie just is amazing, Let me do this by imagery for you guys. It's a film done by Edgar Allan Poe. Body down below. Up top, names. That's very good, very creative, very good stuff, like splattered on Vincent Price's face, which I thought was pretty cool reveal that he was the bad guy. Good morning, Autumn. It was interesting to see Vincent Price in kind of that bad dude role, that villainous type of role, because every role he's had since then had been slightly protagonist, So, yeah, and that was like towards the end or slash middle of the movie. Came off very interesting, that reveal. Shocking, unexpected twist, to say the least. Red, masked up man who shared a moment of dialogue. And then it was kind of revealed like he had a fucked up face as well, which, what do you expect? I think that's where he got it from, that being Vincent Price. Came off interesting. Oh, this dude is so obsessed with me. It's so annoying. Like, help me. Who? Like, what I would tell you, if you're not interested and you're not trying to be with him, I would tell you, like, just let him down. Like, let him down easy. Just tell him you're not interested. Sorry if I'm not interested, Or ask my girl, because she's a girl, so she would know. Like, dude's face is fucked up. When he takes off the red mask, you see nothing but a half. Like, him and Vincent Price's face were burnt. Block him. Or talk to Brittany. Brittany will tell you what to do. She's a woman. She understands. Girl, right? Just sitting down. Fucking a black blanket wrapped around her, or whatever it is. I don't know what that symbolizes, but it's on type shit. So that represents the Lord, basically, and Christianity and all this and that, basically. Like, kind of like magician hat, looking very charismatic, very like genuinely, and all that, basically. He looked great. Like, dude, he's basically standing there. She's looking over at him. That symbolizes fear, you know? Why else would you be looking at somebody while he's standing there? You feel me? It's fear. Simple as that. Yes. That whole character and the reveal. Well, I think he's the villain, but then Vincent Price, what happens is he infiltrated Vincent Price, got Vincent Price over to that sort of side, and then made Vincent Price sort of like a villainous type of character. You feel me? Basically, that's what had happened. In my opinion, from what I'm seeing, what I saw, is what happened to me. Exactly. Don't accept any friend requests he sends you. But yeah. The Oblong Box, great movie. Great vibe. Great chemistry. Great camera shots. Great producing. Great everything about it. Just very confidently directed and all that. And was like choked up by his shirt, like try to like basically intimidate him. The intimidate factor, you know. If somebody smells weakness on a person, they gonna continue to treat you like you a punk, basically, and that's basically all that was. Treating dude like he was nothing more than a pussy and punk. Dude, Masked Dude, and Christopher Lee talking and discussing about the Obalon box, or so be it. Whatever they were talking about, whatever they were discussing. Forget what they were discussing. I don't know what they were discussing. I don't care. But that's my assumption. They were talking about the Obalon box or whatever. Handle thing in his hand while next toward the dude in the red mask, who, like I said before, it's revealed that he has bad burns in his face and stuff like that, which is the exact same thing that we see up with Vincent Price, which I thought was pretty interesting when that's revealed and shown that they both have fucking burns. Different kind. He has like a big hole on his face, but that being Vincent Price, but still. Be right. Body right. He was the deceased body, I believe. I don't know what exactly that was about, to be honest, but yeah, I thought that was very, very strange, very, very weird, very awkward, because, you know, unless you're mourning or fucking visiting or talking to the deceased body, I don't know why else you would feel the need to have to touch it, basically. No, Vincent Price bleeding out on the ground, basically, you know, checking the pulse and seeing like, is she dead or is she alive? And basically him finding out she's deceased. Basically, that's what that is. That's all that is. Christopher Lee staring into the camera, very serious demeanor, body language, which is what him and Vincent Price exude at very well, which makes them watchable and, you know, very believable, very good at what they do. If you can't exude some sort of body language or facial expressions well, you are not in this shit to win, to be honest. Everybody else in the movie had the same thing in common. They knew how to do that exact same thing, basically. Exude that body language and confidence you need as an actress or actor, right? Where my guy Christopher Lee was choked. And in this movie, he's not like one of the remaining surviving cast members, because in this movie, he ends up dead. He gets killed. In the middle of the movie, I was like, wow, what? Christopher Lee in an early movie who is shot and killed? What? Christopher Lee? It was kind of interesting how it came off and how it played off. It was very believable. Just a nostalgic, like, well shot, well executed, well produced, well directed, just all that. It's very natural, very believable feeling, looking, all that shit, you know, of a movie. I just enjoyed it. It was that level of nostalgia. You know, again, placing fear in his heart. Well, trying to place some fear in his heart. Basically, that's that. Looking fearful. And he even mentioned something like in the movie, boo, 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 along them lines, or whatever, which I thought was great, basically. Any scene him, Christopher Lee, that blonde-haired woman is in, is just great, nostalgic, feeling, and it, like, comes off the screen that easy. Red masked man and that young blonde woman hugging each other. I wouldn't have trusted him. I don't know why she was doing that. I don't know if that was her dad, if that was her sugar daddy, or what the fuck he is to her, but yeah, that's interesting. Was interesting. I enjoyed it nonetheless. The whole vibe, overhaul, like execution, the way it played off, came off, all that. Just very believable, very interesting, very nostalgic. Plenty of words I can say about it, you know. It was that. That's that. Not more, not less. Basically. Where the young girl, right? Appears to be raining because she's got an umbrella. In the background, it don't look like it was raining, so that's kind of convoluted. The whole idea of her having an umbrella, if it's not really raining outside or anything like that. That I don't understand at all. You would only need an umbrella realistically if it was like raining or some shit. So that makes no sense. The redhead masked dude and Christopher Lee were next to each other, right? checking himself out as if he's that dude, as if he's the shit, basically. That's what that whole thing was about. He discusses and talks about African, sort of like that whole thing is touched upon. Like in the early 60s, he touches on African American sort of shit and this and that, which I thought was sort of interesting, to say the least. Younger man, watching and observing what he's talking about and shit like that, basically. Which I think is good. Came off believable. Great side story to add on to the whole movie and what the story's already about, basically. I very much can appreciate that, for real, that they were able to add a side story to it and touch on something, ahead of time, like that'll stand the test of time before our generation, and we can go back and look upon that and watch it and critique it and all this and that, basically. That was great. Young girl and Vincent Price sharing a passionate moment where she's touching his back, basically. He's looking at her, basically, shit like that. Thought that was sweet. Kissing, which I thought was great. Passion, love, that's what that means. That's all that's about, basically. Which came off so romantic, came off believable, genuine, all that. To me, at least, that's how it came off. Very believable, genuine, honest, real. They really made you believe and feel like they loved each other and were a couple, basically. Arm to arm, just discussing moving to, a certain place where he was at. London, I believe, whatever, which was cool. I thought that was interesting, to say the least. That they could talk about shit like that, like a whole different country together, and maybe she would go with him to live there as well, type shit. I don't know, I'm just assuming. Interesting scene though. Dance scene as well too. Many movies have done that, like implemented fucking dance scenes, such as Disney's A Christmas Carol, a little like House Shop of Horrors, some movies like that, which was pretty good, pretty cool, came off believable, and all this and that. This one came off believable as well. I really enjoyed the dance scene and all this and that. I very much liked the scene. How everybody was dancing, how that came off real and genuine and all this and that. Very, very real feel. Very nostalgic. Well directed, well produced, all that. Ice was surrounded by a tree, looking at certain shit. I don't know what it was he was staring at, but he's looking at something, basically. Girl Wright and Vincent Price here as well. All surrounded by a group of people, were basically, which I enjoyed. Great shot, very well directed, very well produced, all that shit. Just a great scene, great vibe, great cast of characters, all that stuff. I very much enjoyed that scene for what it was, basically, to say the least. Eyeball, close up, came off well. In the suit, young dude. They're basically talking about something. Beer down, slick back. I thought that was great. Top of a coffin. You know what that symbolizes, basically. I ain't even gotta discuss that. We ain't gotta talk about that, but you know what that means. We discussed that. Vincent Price, his girl, walking arm in arm, passion, romanticness, doing something, etc. You know, that's what that is. Price or whatever, whoever, basically like what the fuck they were doing, but they were doing something which is interesting. Laying down or dead or whatever in the scene, which I thought was great. Very believable. Discussing something. I think they were discussing the Obolong box. You know, that's the majority of this movie discussion. Topics either about deaths, graves, burials, you name it. It all revolves around the Obolong box. People getting buried, people getting killed, and all this and that. It comes off great, believable, just nostalgic. You know, just amazing, you feel me? Christopher Lee, right? Jor, looking for something, I'm assuming. That's what that was about. He was trying to look for something and find something, basically. I don't know what it was, but yeah. Mask dude revealing the mask and revealing his true identity. That's all that was. Men hugging. Basically like acknowledgement and fucking no respect. Basically showing respect to each other. Catching up. Basically that's what that is. Talking to somebody, which I thought was great. You know, any scene he's in is fantastic, believable, nostalgic, genuine, realistic, all that. And so, dude talking and discussing about something very believable, shot well, produced well, just great. We had like 5 or 6 dead bodies. I'm just going off assumption in this movie, which came off great, nostalgic, believable, realistic, just interesting, nostalgic, well done, well executed, well shot, very believable, all that. Camera black out. Back in like 2 scenes, the camera's basically like blacked out, basically, which is interesting to say the least. Sitting by a cross when she's dead, basically, shit like that. That's basically what that's about, basically. African American war dance chant or whatever that shit was, but it came off great to me. It came off very interesting to me. Whatever that shit was, to say the least. And my phone my live is stuck at 11 minutes and 25 seconds. I don't know what the fuck happened, but yeah, it's not moving anymore. There it is. That was great. And cutting something open. Display of cutting something open. You know, just to prove a point. Like, hey, if we have to, we'll do this. We'll do, basically. And that older guy, both looking shocked and surprised about something. Like, maybe because of that dead body, some type of shit, basically. I'm just going off interpretation and opinion. I'm not sure, but that if I had to make it out, that's what it is, basically. Sort of reading something, coffee, whatever that shit was. His girlfriend as well. His his younger girlfriend were sipping on tea while he was reading newspaper. I'm assuming he was reading some sort of news article or something like that, which is great, very believable, just a nostalgic feeling, type of a vibe, and all this and that. Right. Next to some candles, and her not even looking his direction, not even looking at him at all, as if she didn't want no type of interaction with him. She didn't really want to be around him. She didn't feel comfortable next to him. None of that. It just was a great symbolism, great analysis, just a great vibe at all. Period. You feel me? Just a great vibe, period. Basically, African folks, basically, his arms, holding them hostage, basically. Didn't want to let him go, basically. Like, basically, like a kidnapping or adult napping. That's what I'll call that. They adult napped him, basically. Wasn't letting him go. Thought that came off well, executed well, shot well, just all that good shit. Really, whoever that was, there's one of them, which you can see they're having fun. Two legends, the film industry. It's all about mortality, this film, because I looked it up, what it symbolizes. It symbolizes mortality and death, basically. And obviously, the Obalon box, entitled name alone, basically, of course, that's what it's about. Put two and two together. That's not hard to understand. Like, easy. In her dress, basically, black outfit. There's a few like exploitation film scenes. There's a few exploitation scenes in the movie. We get a few titty pops, few titty reveals, which honestly I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't really looking at that. I was more invested in the stories, the characters, the vibe of the movie, and all that. All that other shit didn't matter to me. It just, the story, the cast of characters, cinematography, the vibe, the creativity that this movie offers, just all of that and then some. That's what I was more interested in, you know. If I want to look at some shit like that, there's sites for that on my girl, you know. The dude undressed the girl because, you know, they were gonna make love. Well, they made love all the up. So she got, you know, basically this and that. It's very good. He was popped out and all this and that. Like I said, I could give two fucks about it. I wasn't really paying attention to that or none of that. But yeah, Christopher Lee was basically by some older guy, which came off very well executed, very well directed, and just very believable. That scuffle scene. The red mask dude had his hands, both hands up by his mask. Like, oh no. As if he's been figured out or caught up and figured out upon something. Basically, that's what that means to me. Looking at basically, obviously he wants to come in, so no. I'm assuming he let her in, etc. Shit like that. Or sees Victor Price with a big smile on her face. They talk, yada yada, this and that. Shit. To look at something. I don't know what it is, but they were surrounding it. Out basically. Good scene though. Person with a black outfit sitting there, lying there. I'm assuming that was Christopher Lee who was killed in that scene, basically. Or basically her bag or whatever that is, basically. You know. Basically. I'm sure it's the Orballoon box. Basically. So I thought was great. Every scene in the movie's basically great. My shit paused again and it ain't budging. Very, very good. Figured Man and Christopher Lee in a scene, which their chemistry came off very well, very believable, well crafted, just amazing. Woman, basically, because we see plates placed down on the table, so that's what that symbolizes: cooking for your partner. Ooda basically. So what the fuck's going on with my live? I don't know. I might have to stop it at 12 minutes and 5 seconds. Let me get off this live.